December 27th, 2020. This is the Chargers versus Broncos game, final play of the game. Time is basically expired by now. There's a Hail Mary pass, and you have a hold going on. And the hold, he's still at the 10-yard. He's actually probably about the 11-yard line. The ball's way in the air. It's still got a second or two to come down. So this hold went on for like 1 to 2 seconds. And it prevented this wide receiver from getting down the field. Now I'm going to just start playing it frame by frame just to show you how long this went on for. You can see the hold right there. I mean, he's just, look at him. It's just, he's the wide receiver. You'd think he was the wide receiver. This is the Chargers, this is the Broncos wide receiver, Fant, trying to get to the ball, being held. I mean, look at that. He's like trying to get away and he can't. Now the ball's still in the air. Mike Williams, they put him in for defense, the Chargers did. He's normally a wide receiver. He has so much, he's being held so long, Williams has enough time to drift sideways into the shot and make the interception. I mean, he's not moving very fast. So obviously he could have, look at that, he's just, I mean, and she just won't let go. As a matter of fact, he didn't let go until Williams had caught the ball and was coming down with it. He's still holding on to him. And then he lets go right there. He lets go when it's too late. So I'm going to back it up now and just play the play so you kind of get a feel for it. And I'm going to make some commentary on why I just think this is outrageous that they didn't call it.
Receivers into the game as a DB way back in their own end zone.
That's probably a good thing to do.
Luck steps up, fires to the end zone. He'll give them a chance, and it is picked. And it is Williams.
Oh, come on.
With the
So they're all raving about Williams making the. Now I'm going to play the shot I showed you.
chance, but they come up just short. Here in Los Angeles.
You know, DBs, we get yelled at if you don't bat it down and you go for the interception. And then, of course, the offensive guy, he just goes in there and...
Even on this play, you can see him not let go. He's still holding. Now he lets go, now that the ball's been caught. Now let me ask you something. If that had happened in the Super Bowl, if that had been the final play of the Super Bowl, what would it have meant? You have literally... however many people they claim, 1 billion people watching the game, allegedly. At least in the United States, you're going to have your 100 million watching it, right? So, you would let that end the game in the Super Bowl? Now, you might argue, well, they have extra referees. Doesn't mean they would have caught it. He was pretty sneaky about it. He had his hand down like this, you know, and you have the refs in front of the play. They're not going to see that. The cameras are going to catch it. So, imagine people who bet on the game, right? What if it's a Super Bowl and everyone's made a bet and they lose their bet because that play wasn't called? Because whether you call it as a pass interference or just defensive interference, the game cannot end on a defensive penalty. So in the minimal case scenario, the ball would have been moved forward anywhere from 5 to 15 yards, depending on what infraction they called it, on probably 15 yards because he's so far downfield, right? So that would have set up a chance for a field goal because from 35 yards or even 40 yards, even 45 yards, that would have been a 62-yard field goal. Why not give it a shot, right? 62 yards, 67 they didn't want to try. 62, maybe you give it a shot, right? And if it was a 10-yard penalty, it would have only been a 52-yard field goal. The point is, they got it wrong. And I'm just suggesting to the NFL, any game-ending play, you can't just look to see who caught the ball. You got to look for penalties. And if it's a ticky-tack penalty, I understand you don't want to end the game on a penalty. That's fine. In a way, that was a ticky-tack penalty. He stuck to him like glue, basically, holding his shirt. I mean, there's probably going to be stretch marks on that shirt as evidence if they want to show it after the game. So that's just not the way to end a game. And for fans who might, who watch the whole game and they, it's like, do you really, I mean, if you don't care how a game ends, why watch it, right? And if you don't have and I don't even mean you have to have a favorite, you just might want to watch a good game. But if you're watching a whole game and the final play, they purposely ignore an obvious penalty that changes the outcome of the game by not calling it, it changes the chance for the opportunity to change the outcome of the game. You should be annoyed if you're a fan. And this shouldn't be happening. Now, if this had happened in the second quarter, at least there's 2 quarters to kind of, you have time to recover. But in the last 10, 15 seconds of a game or the last play of the game, you got to call that. I don't care. And you got to get used to calling it whether it's a playoff determining game or not, because it's the right thing to do. And they didn't call it. They missed it. And I'm going to end on the frame just as a reminder.
Here in Los Angeles, DBs, we get yelled at if you don't bat it down and you go for the.
I mean, there it is. And that wasn't just the one moment either. I mean, he literally. That's why there was only one Bronco in the end zone. There were like 4 or 5 Chargers in the end zone and only one Bronco. Why do you think that is? That's why. So, I just don't like that. And when betting becomes big, I mean, people probably might have bet on this game. But if this were the Super Bowl and this happened on the final game, wouldn't you almost be so disgusted that you might even just not even take... I mean, maybe it's a good lesson. Don't take sports seriously. Just watch it, pure entertainment, and never take it. Maybe that's the lesson. I don't know. But I always feel like if you respect the players because they're good at what they do, right? I mean, if you went to an opera and the lead singer sings off pitch, you'd be offended, right? Maybe you spent money, maybe because you didn't spend money here, but you spent your time and you've invested in it. This is an embarrassment. And the announcers didn't say anything. And one of the announcers is a former professional football player. He saw it, didn't say anything. To me, that's fraud. And that guy was a pretty smart guy. He made a lot of good comments during the game. And then when the chips were down, he didn't say anything because the game was over. He should have said something. He should have said that was one of the most flagrant, outrageous holds he's ever seen, and it should have been called. And if the refs didn't see it, the instant replay saw it, and instant replay should have said something. He did not let go until this ball was caught. And we don't know when it actually started because the camera pans over. He was already holding him when the camera panned over. I'm going backwards now, right? Look at that. I mean, this hold is still going on. He's trying to run by him, and he can't. He's still holding him. He's still holding him. He's still holding him. He's still holding him. My God. He's holding him, and the ball was just thrown just a moment sooner. Just like it takes like 2 to 3 seconds for the ball to get down there, maybe 4 seconds, right? So he just threw the ball half a second ago. So he basically held him for 2 to 3 seconds. Outrageous. And I actually I think the FBI should investigate this, because if they're going to allow betting, legalized betting, state-to-state betting, and that was seen and nothing was done about it, fraud was committed. And that should be investigated by the FBI. I'm serious about this. This play should be investigated by the FBI because people bet on it. And it determined the outcome. It affected the outcome of the game. Because if he'd had a chance to kick a field goal after a penalty and tied the score, they would have gone into overtime, and that could have changed the entire result. So, yeah, this kind of stuff matters. I don't care which... I'm a Browns fan, so, that part is... I have no stake. I just have a stake in fairness, in honesty, and in calling the game the right way, especially on the final play, right? I mean, he's already I mean, frankly, he was probably being held too, the way things are going, but he's already being held. Look at that. One. I'm going to count the frames. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. By the way, he's holding them with both right here. It's even 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. Each video frame is a 30th of a second. So we're at 40. That's over a second. 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51. He's probably cut the ball there. So that's 1.6 seconds that we see on camera. And it looks like he was being held before. Easily a 2-second hold. A 2-second hold on a player who was trying to catch the ball in the end zone, but he never made it to the end zone, and nobody says anything about it. And people bet on this game. Where's the FBI? They gotta force the NFL to make rules for game-ending plays, and even plays in the last 10 or 15 seconds.
Stadium, the Chargers 19.
And I'm done because my DVR ended.
CBS begins with 60 minutes, and then a trio of